Hi, everybody. I'm Walter. I'm the Dutch mentor, and welcome back to the Smart Performance Podcast, where S stands for self care, M for mindful growth, A for adaptive learning, R for rhythmic operation, T for a thriving community, and of course, P for performance. I'm so glad and welcome all of our new followers, almost 2,000 followers and growing very quickly. So come join because I promise you there's going to be 15 to 20 minutes of high pace, very important information. Especially today, we're going to talk about leadership development and utilization of AI. And that's not just for the youngsters because they're often way ahead of us. It's really about the old bucks like me who need to get with the times and utilize this information. Today, I have a very talented Stephanie Sylvestre with me today. I love her shirt, the avatar body. That kind of gives a preview of what we're talking about. Stephanie, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself and establish credibility in the field.
Thank you for having me. I have over 30 years of IT experience, IT quality, and about 10 years of AI experience. Started in 2016, trying to build a digital human. I believe that I'm pretty close to that, and I will love spending the time today exploring how leaders, not only young leaders, but experienced leaders and senior leaders can use AI to fast track their career and ensure that their team members are also suited and positioned for success in the AI world.
Sounds like a wonderful topic. It fits right into that bucket of mindful growth, but also, the behaviors, right? Being open to learning new things. And I learned that a long time ago when I was actually at Quest. We hired a very talented communication director, merely 23 years old. And in our relationship building, she said, "Listen, I cannot wait to teach you a few things." And it's like, teach you? You're 23. What are you going to teach me? But yes, sure, I'm open to it. And that by opening myself up to that generation, she did teach me a lot, right? So we need to make sure that we remain open and available to. So tell us a little bit about what does leadership development mean in your eyes, especially with using AI integration and utilization.
When I think about leadership development, I think about the ability for you to look inside, body scan, be aware of your emotions, be aware of why you're having those emotions, being able to name those emotions, and then understanding how those emotions impact just not just you, but the people around you. And so leadership development starts with developing yourself. Because if you are able to develop yourself and model the behavior that you want your team members to um, to do, then you will be able to have you'll be a much better leader. I think also when I think about leadership, I think about my job as being the person that's a little bit out front, moving away barriers so that as my team comes through, the road is as smooth as possible. And then there's also this concept of leading from behind, and what that is that it's about having your team members go ahead and delegating your authority to them, and that's probably the most difficult part of leadership because people are like, "What? You're going to give your authority to a 23-year-old?" And I said, "Yeah." And by doing that and leading from behind, what you're doing is you're standing behind the person and you're just making sure that there are no terrible fallouts from delegating your authority. And what I've seen happen when you do those two leadership styles, and it's not one or the other, it's both of them, and it all depends on the situation, the person, what is it that you're trying to develop. If you're having somebody that you know has lots of talent and skills, but are a little bit unsure of themselves, delegating your authority and leading from behind is a much better way to lead. If you have somebody that is pretty confident, knows what they're doing, just wants to get the job done, being able to lead from front where you're moving barriers out of their way and letting them know the barriers you're moving out of their way is important because you want to get them to a point where they realize that to be the best team member is also to be leadership in position, even if you don't have the formal title, and do the same thing with other people. And so that's where you then start creating this team that gels together, where you're going along and you hear something and you're like, oh, you know what? Stephanie's working on this project as well. let me tell her about this, or even better yet, let me bring these people together. That's where the real magic of leadership happens. And I like to tell people, I know that I have been successful as a leader when I am not in a room and somebody comes back and tells me, we were trying to get your team member to do something, and they said, we're not going to do that because Stephanie's not going to like that. It meant that they had taken on some of my leadership characteristics and my vision, and they had owned it to the point that they were saying no. And I've been at a number of places where people have reported on that. I went on vacation, and normally when I go on vacation, I go on vacation. I'll check my email, but I'm not scheduling a meeting. I'm not responding to emails and so forth. I'm like, that's why the team is there. And if I'm a good leader, I should be able to disconnect for a week and come back and be no worse for the wear. And those are the kinds of things that leaderships have. And when you start drilling down into how you get that, it requires that you're vulnerable, right? You have to be able to tell your team, like, look, I don't know how to do this, but I believe you can figure this out. This is where we need to go. Or being able to go to your team member and say, I really appreciate the effort, but this is not what I wanted. And then sending them back, but don't send them back 10 times because that's just frustration. Send them back once. And then if they come back the second time, then sit with them. And then you might end up having to show them how it's done. Not that you're taking back the task away from them, you're just helping them amplify. And then always be grateful for the fact that they took the time and they tried. And and celebrate when they make a mistake. That's even more important, because then what you're doing is you're creating a safe space for them to push out of their comfort zone, to try new things. And that's where the magic happens again, where you're starting to see that they're coming up with solutions that you couldn't figure out, you would have never thought about. And that's where I think this is full leadership. And then the ultimate is in vulnerability, because delegating your authority to somebody else is very scary. You have no control and you take all the responsibility. If something goes wrong, you're the one that's going down to the principal's office, not the team members. And if something goes right, you're the one in the meeting celebrating the team member, not saying, I did this. It's saying, look what John did, look what Sue did, look what Mary did, and giving them credit so that you're establishing them as a leader and as a content expert in the organization and beyond.
Really good. So let me just summarize a couple of things that you said over here. It is about shifting the responsibility from the owner to the performer with accountability back. It is okay to fail, but fail fast, fail forward. It is make
Yes.
sure that we hold people back, we kill creativity. And as the leader, it's not my role to be the smartest person in the room, but it is my role to be able to lead, and inspire, to motivate, help people identify what the North Star is, and have them go after it. Now, I 100% agree with all of those things, and that is really where true performance will come from over time. Now, the behavior, right, is often stands in the way. Let's take this to the next level. So, where do you see that AI can come into play to help people develop those vital skills, knowledge, and abilities and behaviors to be that good team member or that great leader?
Well, we did this experiment at Avatar Buddy, and it's working out beyond beyond our wildest dreams. And my being on this podcast is a result of this wonderful experiment that we've now incorporated and made part of our business process. So when you think about AI, when you think about wisdom, you think about how do you learn, how do you grow, you learn and you grow based on somebody coaching and mentoring you. You people might say, oh, I don't have any mentors. I'm like, you have to have mentors. Maybe you're not aware that you have mentors. You're not being intentional about it, but people are coaching and mentoring you all the time. So what if we were intentional about this, right? So I'm a I like to think that I'm a leadership expert. And so what if I were to download all of my approaches and thoughts and flows around leadership, right? Because leadership is, there is there's a methodology, there's a way to lead. You don't just randomly get up and one day and say, I'm going to be a leader and lead. It doesn't work quite like that. So I download all of that into my AI, and then I give it to a junior person that wants to be a leader. And that person is doing research, attending trainings on being leadership, and then coming back to the AI that's configured with my leadership skills, and then being able to being able to have the AI support, reinforce, correct. And now it's in complete safe space because the AI is not going to be judgmental, and the AI is not going to tell anybody about the fact that you don't know something. And so, what does that look like in real life? So, what I did was we had this incredible woman helping us with marketing, and we coded an AI to do marketing the way she approaches marketing, her techniques and so forth. And then we gave the AI all the information about who Stephanie Sylvestre is, who's Avatar Buddy, what we're trying to do at Avatar Buddy, how we want to interact with the world. And then we gave the intern a list of 4 topics that we want to be able to speak to whenever we go on podcasts. And what the intern did was use the marketing buddy plus the topics to apply for to apply for me to be on podcasts. And so we're averaging 5 podcasts a week, and I am always pleasantly surprised by the level of synergy that I have with my podcast hosts. And one might be like, wow, Stephanie, that's just incredible. But it's not. It's because the AI understands who we are, understands our culture, and the intern, even though she's new to our company, doesn't quite understand all of the intricacies of this, is able to write something and respond to the questions being asked when we're applying to be on a podcast, because the AI and her knowledge together. And so instead of the intern interrupting me, being frustrated with her job, she works. I check in with her for a half an hour once a week, and we're at 5 podcasts a week.
That's wonderful. It is so the key thing is to utilize tools that are available to us now and not be hesitant about that. So I did a survey not too long ago. It's still like 50-60% of leaders are not using AI on a daily basis. And so we talk about that they need to get over the hump, right? I use it every day in many different facets of my business. I have an AI coach mentor in my Smart Performance app that is available in the Apple Store, because it is important for people to start utilizing it. So what are you still seeing today that, what Avatar Buddy, I suppose, is doing? Why is still the leaders in decision-making positions reluctant to utilize it to a greater extent?
I think it's because of the way AI is being sold to people. Like, hey, let's use these AI agents, and you can get rid of your staff. Use this AI agent and you don't need these people. And that is actually not true. I'm an economist by training, and what's happening is that the all these job cuts that's being attributed to AI is not necessarily a result of AI. What's happening is we overhired during the COVID when money was just flowing like nobody's business. Everything just, the economics of the world just went sideways. And there was so much money, we just hired people willy nilly. We didn't take any time to see what's the value add. And now that money's tightening, what we're doing is we're going back through and we're optimizing. That's just natural business cycle. The fact that now you have AI on the scene is just coincidental. The fact that AI can help you optimize faster is, again, just an added value. But to say that AI is the cause of you losing your job is not the right narrative. It's a false narrative. And then the way the media portrays AI, it's almost like instilling fear in you. I feel like we're back to the internet. When the internet first came out and everybody's like, oh, it's going to be bad, it's going to be scary, it's going to be horrible. And the internet's fine. And then I could go back further when people talked about TV, when everybody had TV. Oh, TV is going to be bad. There's going to make you dumber. And I don't know about you, but I used to do my homework in front of the TV. I think that I'm pretty okay with in terms of competency. And so when people are sold AI as a tool, then yes, it's scary. And I wouldn't want to use AI as a tool either. I wouldn't want to use that. But when AI is sold as augmenting human, as a complement to human, as a way to more quickly and easily have the world see your awesomeness, that's where the sweet spot is with AI. And I think that when I talk to leaders about AI from a perspective of legacy building, so not about we're going to put this in the AI and then now you're going to be able to cut 30% of your workforce. It's more about legacy building from the perspective of now everybody in your organization understands your culture, understands your mission, understands your way forward. Because we know in most companies, there's a telephone game that plays. I am, as the CEO, says something to the COO. The COO then goes and tells her direct report, who then tells their direct report. And by the time it gets to the frontline people, it's not what you said. And I noticed because when I was a C-level person, I would walk the floor and I was always amazed by the fact that what the frontline people heard and what I said were not close. Sometimes it was like this, but most of the times it was like this.
Yeah.
And that is a really bad distractor for your organization. AI fixes it. The other piece of what happens in your organization that people don't talk about a lot is interpersonal conflicts, right? I keep having to come to you for the same thing because I just don't understand how you explain something and I'm confused and I try to do it and I'm frustrated and you're annoyed and now we have tension between us. And you take all this knowledge that you have, you put it in the AI, I ask AI the question, it tells me it in a way I don't understand, I ask it in a different way, it gives me the answer in a different way, because the AI will respond to the question asked, not to how it sees the world. And that is the key difference between AI and humans. Humans respond based on how the AI sees the world, how they see the world. The AI will respond based on how the question that's being asked.
Yeah. So let's give people an action item coming out of this conversation, right? Because we can go many different. Give me one thing that people should do out of this conversation that will make them better leader, a better interactor with AI.
So I tell people the easiest thing to do to get over the fear of AI, if you don't want to use AI, or even if you're using it and you're like, this is nonsense, is sit with any one of the tools out there and just stream of consciousness, talk about why you are grateful for 3 people in your lives. Just write the stream of consciousness and then ask the AI to write 3 gratitude notes for each of those people. And then send the notes off to those people. And what you will see is the AI will take your stream of consciousness, the discomfort that you have with expressing gratitude to another human being, and make it so much easier.
Love it. It is. I utilize it for many things, including, a voice to text. I can sit there and it learns about me and my behaviors and the way I say things. So it's not like such a computer way of saying it. These are my words just polished in a way that there's still a sense of emotion in there. Listen, there's lots more to come. Stephanie, where can we find you?
Stephanie at avatarbuddy.ai, or you can find us on LinkedIn. And anybody that mentions this podcast, I'm happy to give them a half an hour consult complimentary.
That is very, very nice. And give us a parting thought.
AI can amplify and unlock your awesomeness. And we believe in the human digital handshake, where AI plus a human maximizes any investment.
Well said. Thank you, Stephanie, for coming to join me today in the conversation. Again, we have a clear action takeaway. Start interacting with your AI tool. Start someplace. If you don't know how just go to your Gen M or Zs. They will know how and they'll guide your way. Be open, be teachable, because that's how creativity will lead to profits or success no matter where you are. Again, thank you for joining the podcast today. Let's share, follow, subscribe, and always go to the App Store and look up the Dutch Mentor. Download the app, start your journey there. And if you need more help, of course, book a free consultation with myself and let's have a conversation about your journey to success so you will not be skipped over your next promotion or the raise that you deserve. Stephanie, thank you very much for joining me today and very much good luck at Avatar Buddy.
Thank you as well. I appreciate being a guest on your show.
You're quite welcome.